ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part 2 of the series What If Izuku Was Trained by an OP Alien from Dragon Ball. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. Izuku and Slug stared at each other waiting for the first move. Izuku went straight for Slug, jumping into Kaioken X3, delivering a kick to sending him straight into the air, where Izuku planned to hit Slug from above, but Slug was too fast, sending an uppercut that hit the green-haired boy out of Kaioken. They'll give you that you seem stronger than that blonde-haired human with that technique, but it still isn't enough to defeat him, Slug says before hearing the hero yell Kaioken X5. Izuku yelled, "KO wa!" Slug was interrupted again by a brutal gut punch as Izuku was performing a meteor combo, which Katsuki remembered from his own fight with Deku in the sports festival. Izuku pushed the Namek onto the ground and jumped high into the air. Body don't fail me now, Kaioken X10. Ka. Me. Ha. Me. Ha-ya! A blue beam fired from Izuku's hands, engulfing the entire area in a blue aura. When it was over, Izuku flied weakly to the ground, thinking it was over, but it was definitely not over. Slug fired off all the rubble. I've had enough of you stupid kids, and now I'll show you my true power, Slug yelled. Slug then began to grow to enormous size, shocking Izuku, Bakugo, and everyone there. If he is bigger, then that means he is slower, right? Izuku thought. Izuku was mistaken, as Slug's attacks were actually faster and stronger than it was before, only being able to keep up while using Kaioken X5, but he couldn't keep it up for long, as the longer he used it, the more strain it does on his body. Oh man, I'm getting my butt kicked out there, and the spirit bomb is the only one thing that can stop him. Izuku ripped his hydration armor off, throwing it to the floor, then raised his hands into the air. But I need a distraction. Izuku then dodged an attack from Slug while still having his hands up. A large blast hit Slug in the back. It was Bakugo. Kaken, how are you back to full health? These guys heal me now. Shut up and charge your stupid attack, Bakugo yelled. I need some time to charge it. Can you hold it off? Izuku asked. Yeah, it can't be that bad to hold it off, right? Bakugo questioned to himself as he went to hold off Slug. Bakugo held his own for a bit, but he inevitably was beaten. Now to actually finish you. Slug holds Bakugo with a tight grip, ready to unalive Bakugo, until Izuku appeared out of nowhere, punching him straight in the face. Deku, what the hell? I thought you were charging up your attack. Bakugo yells. I am. Izuku points to the clone of himself, gathering energy. I never forget about the good ol Yardrat techniques. Hey Slug, you're not the only one who can turn giant. Izuku used his spirit control to grow up to Slug's height, ready to do a kaiju fight, with Izuku using the Kaioken to keep up with him. When Slug aims for a punch, Izuku disappeared as it morphed back into the Izuku, charging up the spirit bomb. What the? Slug then looks up to see the giant blue ball of energy. Haya! Izuku then threw his hands, letting the spirit bomb down on Lord Slug. No, I won't lose. Slug placed his hands on the spirit bomb, trying to stop it. Oh no, you don't, Bakugo said from behind, firing blast at his back, causing him to weaken more. Kaken, get out the way, Izuku yelled, not wanting to harm or even accidentally unalive his best friend. I admit you are the strongest guy I have ever met, but it's a shame such potential was wasted on villainy like you, but hopefully you can be reincarnated as a good guy someday. Izuku then placed 2 fingers on his head. See ya. Hiya! For a split second, Izuku went into KO. Kinks 20. I am supposed to be the strongest. These were Slug's last words before the spirit bomb completely engulfed Slug, causing a giant explosion. After the explosion, all the Namekians celebrated the defeat of Slug and his army. Izuku tiredly flew down to the ground, but he noticed Bakugo and gave him a thumbs up, and Bakugo done the same. Man, I can't wait to go home and smell my mom's katsudon, Izuku said, lying on a small rock. My mom would kill me if she saw how my clothes are torn right now, Katsuki jokes. They both let out a laugh. Izuku remembers when they had times like this playing with his other friends and playing hero in the park. Good times. Oh yeah, Izuku remembered searching for a bag. These are Senza beans, they can heal you to 100% catch. Izuku threw to Katsuki, who then eaten it, erasing all the damage on him. Izuku did the same. We should get back. It's a school night after all. What time is it anyway? 10 p.m. Izuku said, reaching for his phone to see the time. Oh no, my mom's gonna kill me. Even more now, Katsuki thought out loud. Power levels. Izuku Midoriya 180k, post-gravity chamber training. Bakugo Katsuki before boost 10k. Cargo 45k. Elder Mori 2k. Slug Soldiers 1k. Lord Slug 50% power 1.5 million. Bakugo Katsuki first boost 77k. Bakugo Katsuki full boost 400k. Izuku Midoriya Kaioken X 3 540k. Izuku Midoriya Kaioken X 5 900k. Izuku Midoriya Kaioken X 10 1.8 million. Izuku Midoriya Kaioken X 10 Kamehameha 3.9 million. Lord Slug full power 3 million. Izuku Midoriya KO Kinks 23.6 million. What? Me and Kaken are fighting All Might, said the shocked Midoriya. The final exams had come, and unfortunately for Izuku and Katsuki, just a day after their fight against Lord Slug to do their final exams. The fights revolved around two students fighting a hero playing the role of a villain, and now it was Izuku and Katsuki's turn against All Might. As the doors closed on the pair, the tension grew. All Might's mind got it. Bakugo tells Deku, "What? Kaken, you plan on fighting All Might, the number one hero in the world? I know we both grew a lot from Slug, but we shouldn't treat fighting All Might like a minor inconvenience." Izuku responded, "Now you dealt with that All Might level threat back at the USJ, right? And am hundreds of times stronger than you were back then, so I should be a piece of cake. I can smell victory already." Bakugo's pride and ego goes so high it makes a Scion Prince sneeze in the other world. Then suddenly the fake buildings were destroyed, making both of them move back. "If you think this will be easy, you are easily mistaken, young hero. Come at me with everything you got." All Might yelled, going to full power, which shocked the boys. "Kaken, you felt that right? All Might's power, it's unbelievable. We can only stand a chance by working together." Izuku Kaniyun to try and convince his best frenemy. "Shut up." Bakugo charged at All Might, who simply held him by the face, but Bakugo threw Ki Blast at him before ending it with a mighty explosion, causing a dust of wind. "Dust this woman." Bakugo yelled at Deku as they began throwing Ki Blast at the fog, pausing after a short time. "Did we get him?" Deku asked. "Use your ki sense, you idiot. We can still sense him." "Why do you even bother asking Deku?" Bakugo yells. "Sorry, I'm an optimist." Izuku apologies. "You're an idiot, that's for sure." Bakugo continues to bully. "Some things just don't change. You're both wrong. You're doomed, young heroes." All Might said, strangely close to Midoriya. "Wait. What the? I didn't even feel him move. It's like he teleported." Izuku shrieks in his mind. Izuku got scared straight into Kaioken X5 to get away from All Might's attack. "Deku, get out of the way." Deku was getting in the way of Bakugo's offensive, so Izuku used instant transmission to get out of there and in his opposite direction. "Take this one, All Might." Big bang attack. Bakugo yells with both of his arms out, creating an orange ball of energy, looking like it's ready to explode, and then throwing it at him. Kaioken X10. Izuku's body erupted into a red aura Kamehameha. Izuku's signature attack fired, sending a blue ball of energy All Might's way. Izuku knew this attack would only stun All Might for a bit, giving him a risky idea. "Kaken, quick, grab my hand. I got an idea." Izuku landed out his hand, which Bakugo reluctantly agreed, both teleporting to another part of the city. Bakugo sat on the floor. "Damn it. After everything, it's like we can't lay a dent into the guy. He really isn't the #1 hero for nothing." Bakugo yells. "I have one thing that might be able to beat All Might, but I know you won't like it," Deku says. "Go on," Bakugo says reluctantly. "It's called fusion. I learned it on planet Metamore before the sports festival, but I never had the chance to actually use it until now. So, basically you do this dance while saying Fushown. Bye, but remember the fingers have to be perfect or we will end up as a weak, fat, or skinny guy." Deku did the dance, while Bakugo blushed in embarrassment. "DKU, we are heroes, not ballet dancers." Bakugo yells. I know, just for this once please," Deku argues. Bakugo reluctantly agrees as they practice. "Okay, we should be ready, let's start." Deku was interrupted by the sudden sense of all might. Let's do it now. Izuku yells at Bakugo. Fuushan Midoriya and Bakugo began the dance. Too late, young heroes, for I am all might was interrupted by the boys doing the fusion. Izuku and Katsuki finished the fusion. The two's fusion blinds everyone as the two heroes merge into one. The light fades, showing one person standing there. You're not young Midoriya or young Bakugo, who are you? All Might asked, very confused on what's happening. A grin on the fusion's face started to be visible. I am neither Deku nor Kaken, I am Dekshin. It's over, All Might, I have come for you. The new fusion's voice echoed, sounding like Midoriya and Bakugo at the same time, and had hair similar to Midoriya, but standed up like Bakugo's with blonde highlights, red eyes, freckles, and wore a black and yellow vest with white bottoms with a blue belt. Dekshin does some stretches before performing some punches and kicks the hair at high speeds at the air to test out his power, while everyone looking at the exam looked confused beyond belief. How did Midoriya and Bakugo combine like that? They thought. Hey, old man, I need you to give me a good warm-up, all right? The fusion gestured with his hands. Well, if you insist, young boys, All Might said before throwing a big punch at the fusion, who simply held the punch with one hand. Dekshin then pulled All Might closer, taunting right into his face. I wish you took this more seriously, then headbutt All Might far back. All Might jumped back to land a blow, but Dekshin simply moved his hand out of the way to deliver a gut punch with his elbow and sent crashing into the buildings with a kick to the face, and Dekshin rains fire over All Might, firing so much it elevates Dekshin into the air. Whoa, they are demolishing All Might. Why isn't he just heading to the finishing line already? Kirishima wondered. I don't know, but it looks like this Dekshin individual is enjoying this battle too much against All Might, which he defiantly takes after Bakugo Momo analyses. Oh, come on, old man. You're supposed to be the #1 hero, right? Then get back up and show me that, all right? Said an agitated Dekshin. All Might jumps out of rubble looking very messed up. You know I'm not even at full power right now, right? And I'm already pushing you to your limit, Dekshin said, sitting on a broken piece of the building. Quite the ego you have on you, but don't think it's going to be easy, young boys, All Might replies. Oh really? Suddenly Dekukin said right behind All Might without him even knowing he was there, and when he immediately turned to see Dekshin, he was kicked to a wall and pinned down with energy handcuffs strapping it to his neck, hands and legs. Dekshin walks up to All Might. I win, Dekshin says with a grin. Dekshin was declared the winner, and everyone celebrated Midoriya and Bakugo's victory. Afterward, Dekshin walks up to his friends Uraraka, Ida, Mina, Kirishima, Momo, and Kaminari. Hey everyone. Dekshin walks up his friends, or Deku and Bakugo's friends at least, giving them the Midoriya smile, which was weird for the Baku squad to kinda see Bakugo smile. So you're Dekshin, huh? You're so cool. Kirishima said after looking at Dekshin's power in action. So do you stay like this, or is this Pearman? Before Momo could finish her sentence, a glow appeared around Dekshin. Then Midoriya and Bakugo were both popped out as the time went past 30 minutes. Whoa, Dekshin's power is insane. Izuku was shocked at Dekshin's power. While still on the floor, we did great out there, Kaken. And we even pulled the fusion off, first try. Deku complimented Bakugo, who simply left to the changing rooms. Bakugo was changing, yes, but he still had the signature Bakugo moodiness. After the amazing battle between Dekshin and All Might, the school day ended and many of the students decide they need to buy more things to bring with them for the week-long trip, and the invisible girl Toru Hagakure suggested all going to the mall together. Izuku wanted to ask Bakugo, but he probably using the gravity room he gave him. Class 1A meets up at the Kiyoshi Ward shopping mall, where Class 1A get instantly recognized by everyone there, especially Izuku, who gets crowded by a bunch of people. Guys, need some help over here. Izuku tried to communicate with all his friends, who just look and laugh at Izuku getting crowded. After Izuku gets away from the crowd, they all agreed to split off into groups, with Izuku hanging out with Uraraka, who gets flustered for some reason and runs off. Well, that was weird. Then Izuku meets another fan, or what he thinks it is, until he senses the evil in him, and his key signature almost feels like Shigaraki. Izuku then instantly moves away from the villain. Oh, it seems like you noticed me. Oh well, then Shigaraki began to move and grab Izuku by the neck, but Izuku instantly sees his movements and kicks him in the face, knocking the hoodie off of him, showing his wrinkled, paled face. You really thought I was slow enough to be grabbed by you? A lot has happened over the last month to make you not even be a challenge to me now, Izuku states, as Shigaraki gets up, having a big mark on his face. Wow kid, you are stronger than I thought. Both of you and Stain are the things I hate worst as they relate to that smiling trash bag, All Might. But remember this kid, there is something big coming that none of you would be able to handle. No one before Izuku can attack Shigaraki is sucked into a purple portal, which must have been the guy with purple flames surrounding his body, damn it. Izuku shouts, Deku-kun, what happened? Uraraka came back and saw Shigaraki. That villain from the USJ, he came back and tried to decay me like he did to Aizawa-sensei, Izuku explains. Are you hurt? Uraraka asked, worried. No, I'm fine, Uraraka. He wasn't able to land a hit on me, but we should probably report this incident to the police, Izuku. Izuku and Uraraka reported the incident to the police and meets directly with Naomi Satsukachi, and Izuku meets with his mother Oswell to assure that he is alright. Afterwards, Izuku comes to visit Bakugo in the gravity chamber, who is training with weighted gauntlets on. Wokaken, you are pushing yourself more than I did, Izuku compliments. Because I don't want to rely on doing that. Stupid dance when we fight the next big bad, so I went to that pink-haired weirdo to ask for more equipment to train with, so I got these. Bakugo stops training to shout at Izuku, also showing off his training gauntlets. Hey, that was All Might. We have 3 years to get strong, and this is only our 3rd month in UA, which means we have 33 more months of hero training, and based on our rate of the growth in which we are training, we should be at All Might's level in no time, Izuku responds. Fine, now come here. You got me in the mood to punch you in the face. Bakugo rid himself of the gauntlets and goes into a fighting stance. Heck, gladly. Izuku smirks at his childhood best friend as he too goes into a fighting pose. The time has come for the students of UA to go the mountaintop to train and hone their skills and abilities. When they were about to go on the bus, a stroke of genius came to Midoriya's head. Hey, what if we could just go there using my instant transmission? Izuku explains to his teacher. Do you really think you could bring all of us to that far of a distance? Aizawa responded. He'll be fine, I've been trying to go from longer distances for a while now, Izuku reassures Aizawa. Of course he can teleport there, he has been teleporting to different planets for months now. Meanwhile, in Aizawa's head, he screams as he can't get any extra sleep now. Alright, everyone grab on, Izuku told his fellow classmates, who did so, either grabbing his hand, shoulder, or someone else grabbed him. Uraraka, on the other hand, grabbed onto Izuku's hand before quickly retreating to his arm, instead flustered in embarrassment. Mina watched the whole thing. Before they knew it, they were at the mountaintop, and Izuku nearly threw up after teleporting 20 people at once. I should probably inform the wild cats that we arrived a bit earlier than expected, says Aizawa, which lights up Izuku's face knowing of the heroes Aizawa was talking about. After being informed of Class 1A's very early appearance, the wild cats had arrived in style, and Izuku fanboys telling his classmates about the great heroes from the last decade before Pixie Bob grabs him and tells him she is a teenager at heart. The first training they would receive would be getting to the Forest Lodge, and Aizawa told Izuku not to use instant transmission to cheaply get through there. Alright, I wasn't planning to anyway, Izuku then looked to Bakugo, who smirked, clearly challenging Izuku to a race. Meanwhile, every other student attempted to run out of there only to be stopped the wild cats, sending them into the air, which was awkward for Izuku, as he was just standing in the air confused on what to do. Hey you, follow your classmates. Pixie Bob yelled at him, realizing he was still there. Yes, ma'am. Izuku followed her orders quickly. Oh hey guys, how are you doing? Izuku greets his classmates, who didn't have the pleasure of having the ability to fly. Well, except Bakugo, but he kept that a secret. Damn it. Why do we keep falling into one of Aizawa's little traps? Jiro said, dusting and getting herself off the floor. The Wildcats gave Class 1A 3 hours to get from where they are now to the Forest Lodge through the Beast Forest. Pixie Bob then uses her quirk to create monsters for the class to face through the forest. One of them immediately targets Mineta, but as soon as it begins to attack, its head is cut completely off by Izuku's Kienzan, which continues knocking down a couple of trees. Wow, Midoriya, that was awesome. Sato and Siro compliment Midoriya, while Mineta crawls into a ball, already having PTSD from this trip, just 2 hours into them being there. More beasts came as all of Class 1A used their quirks to destroy, immobilize, and help against the incoming forest monsters, but Izuku and Bakugo took out the most monsters. Halfway through they made it into a game into who could take out the most. We are fighting for our lives while they turned it into a game. Mineta cries rivers as he says that. Ever since the incident with Stain, they seem to have been one step ahead of us, all Shoto states, while burning one of the forest monsters. Yes, since the sports festival, it's like they have been best friends. Did Midoriya knock some sense into him, or something? Ashido adds, maybe they have been training in secret, which explains their fusion from the final exams. Hopefully this training will help us get strong enough to keep up with them. The youngest of the Todorokis continues the conversation, with everyone wanting to be strong as them and not be left in the dust by their two classmates. Midoriya blitzes through two forest monsters with a Kaioken X2, cutting the two in half. Hey Deku, try and keep up, you slowpoke. Bakugo said, passing Izuku, who goes through the forest at high speed, wanting to challenge Deku to a race across the beast forest. Kaken, you cheater. Izuku gave a grumpy face as Bakugo got a head start, so he jumped into Kaioken to catch up to his childhood best friend. A shockwave was felt across the whole forest as both rivals went through the forest at high speeds, leaving nothing scathed as they pushed themselves to the forest lodge. Do you hear that? The pro-hero Mandalay commented to Pixie Bob and Aizawa, hearing the two boys come in hot and hit the brakes. Ha 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 ha, I finally beat you, idiot. Bakugo laughed pridefully. No fair, Kaken. You got a head start while I was helping our friends. Izuku responded a bit salty. Well, you snooze, you lose, Deku. Bakugo replies, rubbing it in. You two have definitely been the most impressive out of the bunch. I call dibs on these kittens. Pixie Bob lunges at the two and gets restrained by Aizawa. You two should go back to your classmates and help them out. This wasn't a race, it was meant to be a combined effort for everyone, Aizawa told his students. And we ain't got anything else to do. Let's go, Deku, Bakugo says and grabs Deku by the collar, dragging him back into Beast Forest, while Midoriya waves goodbye to his teachers. One had arrived at the forest lodge all exhausted and bruised up from the exercise, except Midoriya and Bakugo, who wasn't that exhausted since it was nothing like 100x gravity they had trained in, and the class is also introduced to Mandalay's nephew named Koda, which Izuku introduced himself to the small boy. Hello, nice to meet you, Izuku Mido. Izuku was met with a punch to the privates and Koda proceeds to walk away. 18 years later, we see an older-looking Izuku in a blue training GI with a green-haired girl with a ponytail dressed in a blue tracksuit with a permanent blush on her face by a rocky mountain. Alright, Izumi, I'm gonna train you up for the entrance exams at UA. So we'll start in my base form then. Izuku is then cut off by the teenage girl, suddenly fading out of existence. Izumi? The small girl then fully faded out of existence. Wait, what was I doing here? The older Izuku then questions to himself. Izuku has faced evil space pirates on other planets, but that was the most pain he had ever experienced before. What a low blow. You fiend of a child, a punch to the nuts is unforgivable. Ida quickly rushes to Izuku's rescue. The last thing I want to be around is some wannabe heroes. Koda yells back before leaving. That kid's got attitude. Bakugo smirks at his rival's pain. He is like a mini version of you, Todoroki remarks. What are you talking about? You need to shut your mouth before I blow you all the way to hell. Bakugo responds angrily as always. Afterwards, the students are greeted by a wide variety of foods to eat for dinner, but Pixie Bob informs them that this will be the last time the students will be this well fed during their training. The students then get to have a hot spring separated into male and female, of course. In the male side of things, the short, pervert Mineta was staring blankly at the wall bordering male and female, while everyone else was enjoying bathing. Nowadays, for them to not stagger bathing times for men and women is an accident, yes, an accident waiting to happen. Mineta says, "Don't tell me you're gonna Denki," asked his perverted buddy in crime. Midoriya, as class president, you must stop whatever Mineta is about to do. Ida nudges Izuku. Oh yeah, I'm a class president, coughs Mineta. Please stop this perverted behavior. Izuku tried to replicate Ida's mannerisms. You're acting too fussy, Midoriya. Think of all those girls on the other side of those walls. Imagine Uraraka, Yaoyorozu, and everyone else, Mineta tells his green classmate. Izuku blushes at the thought of it. Mineta, stop plaguing the class president of rude thoughts such as that. Ida yells, but it was too late. Walls are meant to be climbed over. Plus Ultra, Mineta uses his ball to climb over the wall. But before he could climb over, he is met by Koda, who was standing on top of the wall. Before becoming a hero, you need to learn about being human. Koda then slapped Mineta's hands off the wall, making him fall. Wow, thanks, Kota. Kota heard the girls call his name, so he looked to see the girls very revealed, which caused Kota to lose his footing and fall. Kota. Izuku then jumped out of the pool and used instant transmission to catch the boy, which he carried him while levitating down. I should probably go to Mandalay about this, Izuku told his friends, in which he did. Izuku brings Kota to Mandalay, where he learns of Kota's tragic past, involving his parents, who were pro-heroes who died in the line of duty. The next morning, training's truly beings for 1A and Bakugo is handed a ball similar to the quirk exams from the very beginning of the school year. Yeah, I'll show you how far I have grown. An evil smirk appeared on Bakugo's face before he threw it at full force, and it went far into the sky. Bakugo got a giant score of over 14,000, which shocked everyone at how far Bakugo had grown. Aizawa then goes over how the training camp will push the students in order to greatly increase the strength of their superpowers. Izuku walks up to Aizawa and asked if he can help in the class's training. And how exactly can you help the class train Midoriya? Aizawa asked. Izuku then gets a capsule out of his pocket and threw it onto the floor, and it made a poof sound before it showed the gravity room. This is the gravity room. Me and Kaken used it to get stronger before the exams. I had Hatsune from the support department where I can train up to 100x gravity. Izuku explains. 100x Earth's gravity? Aizawa looked shocked, realizing the truth behind Midoriya and Bakugo's sudden surge in power. Aizawa gave Midoriya permission to use the gravity chamber as long as he plays it easy on the gravity settings, unless they all want shattered bones. Izuku went to Uraraka first. So Deku-kun, why did you bring me here first? Uraraka asked. The aim is to improve your quirk, correct? Then maybe if you practice lifting heavy objects, and when you adapt to lifting that you can train it in 10x gravity, then 20x, and so on, and it can improve both your strength and quirk. Izuku explained, which Uraraka got immediately. Thanks, Deku-kun. Uraraka smiled. Meanwhile, Bakugo was with Ida. So you have been trying to catch up to Deku, right? Wanting to prove yourself like icy hot back at the sports festival? Bakugo asked Ida, who nods. By the pace you are going now, you are never going to catch up to Deku. Over there, Bakugo points to Deku training. So you're going to make up the strength with your speed, Bakugo told Ida. My speed? So I would need to push myself to the limit. Ida looked at his hand and squeezed it, ready to push himself hard. And if you want to push yourself hard, you're going to need a training partner, Bakugo says, obviously suggesting that he and Ida should train together, which Ida nods and accepts. Class 1A had been pushing themselves to the limit during training through either physical gains or enhancing their powers. Ioma learned to make his laser more powerful and use it for longer periods of time without vomiting. Mina Ishido increased her skin's durability to her acid and even learned a new move nicknamed Acid Man, inspired by Kirishima's hardening quirk and Midoriya's Kyokin technique, where Mina generates a large amount of acid that takes a human form that covers her entire body, which serves as both a powerful offensive tool but a great defensive tool, as they would almost instantly melt through anything that attacked her, which makes battles against her in this form very difficult. Su became more agile and quicker. Toru Hagakure focused on her stealth and agility, making her silent and efficient. This would be proven with training with Izuku. Midoriya, with his ability to sense ki without even seeing them, his quirk completely counters her quirk, so they would test each other through sparring, with Midoriya blindfolded, only relying on his ki and senses to fight Hagakure, and putting Hagakure's stealth abilities to the test. And when Midoriya wasn't available, Shoji creates multiples arms to look for Hagakure, also helping him in the process. Tenya Ida focused on pure speed, challenging fellow classmate Kasuki Bakugo to races. Surprisingly, Bakugo won most of the races in the beginning of the training, but through Ida's pure determination, he was later able to win most of the races. Jiro focused on strengthening. Denki focused on making the electricity not be as self-damaging to himself after overusage. Kirishima focused on strength by training with his best friend Bakugo and increasing the durability and abilities of his quirk. Ojiro and Izuku trained purely with martial arts, with Ojiro surprisingly winning most time thanks to using his tail. Shiro pushed his tapes to the limit. Koji Kota focused on using his ability to command animals better and increase the range of his quirk. Tokoyami trained with his quirk Dark Shadow in the darkness. Todoroki either trained by getting better control, lessening the strain of overusing his ice or fire on himself, or he would train with Izuku. Midoriya or Katsuki Bakugo in the gravity chamber. Izuku accidentally put the gravity setting to times 20, but when Izuku was going to put it down to 10x, Shoto stopped him, not wanting to be left in the dust by Bakugo or Midoriya, and through sheer determination was able to adapt and overcome 20x gravity in a much shorter time than either Midoriya and Bakugo did beforehand. Moneta, while he tries, and that's all that matters. Ochako Uraraka increased the weight of the stuff she can lift by using the gravity chamber or trying to decrease the effects of nausea. Sato focused on eating and training at the same time. Yaoyorozu trained along Sato, but instead of physical gains while eating, she constantly produced objects which helped her produce materials and objects more quickly. After a long day of training, the students relax, and since Pixie Bob said the students won't be given food, the students would just have to make the food themselves, and with a combined effort from the class, they make a curry for themselves. But Izuku notices Kota being missing and finds his key in a cave on a cliff and hands out a plate for him and has a conversation with Kota about heroes and Kota's dislike for him and how his parents were the water hose, and Izuku realizes his problem isn't just heroes, it's quirk society in general, which Izuku feels for him, as he was discriminated for most of his life for not having a quirk, and tells Kota about how he had a quirkless friend who was bullied, but Kota refutes and leaves. On day 3 of the camp, in the evening, a fire erupts and poisonous gas floods the forest where a lot of the students are, and Izuku notices the fire and jumps up into the air. Count X3. Izuku yells and sent a gust of wind to extinguish the blue fire. Izuku then realized that they might be having a villain attack and quickly goes to Kota's location to check if he was safe. He then sees a large villain about to crush the small boy, and when the big villain lays down his foot, he noticed that the boy disappeared, and then looks behind him to see Izuku Midoriya with an angry look on his face. "You're that kid that won the sports festival," the villain says. "Yeah, I get that a lot. Now give me a second." Izuku then throws a key blast onto the floor, blinding the villain, and Izuku then grabs onto Kota, teleporting him to Mandalay. Oni. Kota goes to hug his aunt, thankful for Izuku saving his life. Now Izuku will go back to deal with that villain, so other students won't be harmed by him. Where did that kid go? The clocked villain wonders, staring at Izuku. Away from you. That's all that matters, Izuku says coldly. That sounds like someone who wants to be a hero. Your kind show up everywhere calling for justice, and luckily for me, I was the one tasked with finishing you. Midoriya, wasn't it? The blonde villain, known as Muscular, says. It's Deku to you, and this is no way my last fight, but it's yours, Izuku responds. He'll cut straight to the point, and I'm gonna make you bleed. Muscular took off his cloak and lunged at Izuku, who blocked his punch with his arm, and Midoriya responded in kind by punching him in the gut, sending him back. You might be harder than I thought, but I'm nowhere near finished. The villain's arms bulked up even bigger, attacking Izuku, who was dodged down and swapped Muscular off his feet and charged a ball of energy in his hand and throwing it into Muscular's face, knocking him into a mountain. Ah, that's it, you will die alongside everyone you love. Muscular gets up with his face scared by the blast going all out, turning into a blob of muscles coming straight at Izuku, who was barely able to dodge out the way. While he is faster, Izuku thinks. You're not the only one who can double your strength. In fact, I can do better. Izuku begins to yell as a giant red aura surrounds Izuku's body, and he yells KIO. KNX3. This shocks the villain. What's this? Muscular loses his composure. It's the Kaioken. You villains weren't around to see this, but this is the power I use to take down the hero killer, as it increases my strength, speed, and overall stats by the amount I need. But since you're going all out, I might as well too. Izuku begins to scream louder, being even heard by Eraserhead, Wildcats, and everyone else. Is his power doubling? No, quadruple, not it's. Muscular is in awe, cut off my Izuku yelling. Times 10. Kaioken x 10. Izuku yells, being covered in a deeper red aura. Izuku dashed around Muscular, just being a blur to him. Over here, Muscular looks to see Izuku right in front of him. Izuku delivers a punch to his gut, causing Muscular to spit out vital fluid. It won't work. I don't care how far you push your quirk, I will defeat you. Izuku then throws Muscular into the sky, and Izuku notices the strain is finally taking its toll on his body. My body won't hold up for long, so I need to end this now, Izuku says out loud. Ka. Me. Ha. Me. Ha. Izuku roars as the blue ball of energy erupts out his hands, hitting its target direct on. Izuku powers down looking at the unconscious body of the villain that ended Kota Parent's life and fires galactic donuts at him to restrain his body, and he also gets a senzu from a small bag of senzus he got from Corinne before going to the training camp. Izuku teleports to Mandalay and puts the villain down. If I'm a target, then that means others are targets too, like Todoroki or Kaken. Izuku thinks and quickly teleports to his friends. Izuku teleports around and looks in horror as Tokoyami's quirk Dark Shadow is out of control due to it being nighttime, and also sees Mizo there. Mizo, get out of here, I'll deal with Tokoyami. Izuku instructs his classmate, and Mizo trusts Izuku that he can deal with Dark Shadow. Izuku dodges Dark Shadow's destructive attacks, trying to think of a way of turning off Dark Shadow. Forced spirit fission? No, Tokoyami was born with his quirk, so I can do that. And if I could risk making Tokoyami quirkless, Izuku thinks. He then sees Bakugo and Todoroki using their quirks to stop the dark monster. That's it. Izuku strikes an idea, jumping into the air. Hey, big, tall, and darkly Izuku brings the attention of Dark Shadow. Izuku then brings two of his hands between his face and shouts, Teoken. A large bright light appears, completely hurting Dark Shadow and forcing it to go back into Tokoyami, and they discussed what to do next. I think they are targeting you, Kaken. I heard from the same villain that ended Kota's parents' life that they want you. I think you should stay out of this, Kaken, as they might have something under their sleeve, Izuku says. No way in hell, I am running like a coward, and we are the same strength, DKU. Bakugo lashes out. Kaken, like I said, they might have something planned, so keep a watch out, I'll go help the others, Izuku replies back, before using IT to teleport to his fellow students. He saw a blonde woman pinning Tsu to a tree and proceeded to dropkick the blonde villain off of her. Tsu, are you hurt? Izuku asked, worried. No, but I think she stabbed Uraraka, Tsu responds, finally getting some breathing space from Toga. Oh, you're the cutie I wouldn't mind having your vital fluid, Toga says, getting back on her legs after getting hit. Another quirk based on vital fluid, right? Izuku asked the villain. Oh, you're interested in my quirk? I can give you an example. The crazy yandere-like girl charged for a stab, which Izuku dodged and knocked her down to the ground. Let me introduce you to Force Spirit Fission. Izuku then activated his technique, pulling away all the vital fluid Toga had gotten and returning the vital fluid to their owners, including Uraraka. All the vital fluid you have ever took from someone? Gone, Izuku straight up tells the yandere. Hey, my BL, the blonde psycho said before Izuku knocked her out with a chop to the neck, knocking her unconscious and putting her with the knocked out muscular. He teleports to find out that not only Bakugo was captured, but also Tokoyami, damn it. Izuku teleports to where he can sense Tokoyami and Bakugo, but they aren't there. Whereas Kaken and Tokoyami. Izuku yells at the villain, who lets out his tongue to reveal two marbles. No, Bakugo and Tokoyami are in there. Izuku says, shocked. If you are trying to save your friends, then you have to go through me, kid. The villain behind the blue fire said before firing his well fire at Izuku. Heya! Izuku sent out a strong gust of wind which stopped the blue fire dead in its tracks. What the Dabi stutters before getting punched in the face by him. Well, that's all from me. The masked villain said before disappearing in the portal alongside Dabi. Izuku tries to dash to the portal, but it was too late. Curse it! Izuku shouts out loud, then starting to put his fingers on his forehead, but it's stopped by Uraraka, Azui, and Ioma. Deku-king, you don't know what you are going into. Everyone is in bad shape. Even you, Uraraka tells him, and Izuku looks at himself and sees his tattered clothes and dirty and scratched body. Fine, Izuku says, disappointed in himself not being able to save Bakugo. Time passed, and everyone went to hospital due to their injuries against the villains. Izuku stands outside of the hospital, still not forgiving himself for not saving Kaken. Midoriya. Izuku lifted his head to see Kirishima and Shoto. You still don't forgive yourself, don't you? Shoto speaks to Izuku, who looks down on the ground. It's because I wasn't strong or fast enough I allowed them to take Kaken. Izuku told himself, graping onto a lamp post, accidentally denting it out of anger. What if we went and saved Bakugo? Me, you and Shoto can break into the villain base with your teleportation and rescue Bakugo? Kirishima offers. Izuku looks at his two friends and a note inside his pocket from Kota thanking him and telling him he is his hero. Yeah, let's go rescue Kaken, Izuku says with newfound determination. You're going to go out there so recklessly. Tenya Ida appeared out of nowhere, who was listening all along. It's my fault they captured him, so it's my responsibility, Izuku responds. You are making the same mistakes as I did when I went to kill Stain in revenge. Did you learn nothing from that? We have to leave this for the heroes to do, not first-year students like us. Ida asked him. Ida, please me. Todoroki and Kirishima are together on this one. We can do this. I know you don't like us breaking RUL. Izuku was interrupted by a punch in the face by Ida, which stunned Izuku for a second. Your thoughtless actions will endanger everyone, Midoriya, and end up like my brother and AS class RP and a friend. I won't allow anyone to get hurt anymore, Ida yells emotionally. Everyone there was stunned by him. Ida, we don't have to go in guns blazing on this. It can be like a stealth operation, quietly going in and out rescuing Bakugo, Todoroki tells Ida. Kaken is our friend. It would be terrible for us to not do anything about it, Izuku tries to convince Ida, rubbing his face after Ida hit him in the face. Alright, I'll join you alongside you in the rescue. Just promise not to get in any danger. Ida joins the Bakugo rescue team. Now comes the hard part of actually rescuing him. Shota Aizawa, dressed in a suit, was being interviewed by the press by the villain attack on the camp and the kidnapping of one of the students. You spoke about the student's safety, Eraserhead, but during the incident, it appears you urged them to fight. What was your intention behind this? I concluded that because we were unable to fully grasp the situation, it had to be done in order to avoid the worst possible outcome. What do you mean by worst possible outcome? You don't call 26 victims and one abducted the worst possible outcome? A news reporter responded. The worst outcome I assumed in that situation was that the students would be at their wits' end and be killed, Aizawa responded. The gas attack accounts for most of the victims. We have determined that it was a sleeping gas from one of the enemy's quirks. Thanks to the quick response of the students Ms. Kendo and Mr. Tetsu, there were no serious injuries from that attack. In addition, we are providing mental care to the students, but at the moment, we do not see any signs of serious psychological trauma. Principal Nizu budged into the conversation. Are you saying that it was a bright spot in this tragedy? Said another news reporter. We believe that the worst outcome is one that would have infringed on the future. Can you say the same thing for the kidnapped Bakugo? He enrolled at UA High with excellent marks and won the sports festival. In addition, during the incident with the sludge villain in middle school, he resisted the powerful villain alone, so he has a history of showing how tough and heroic he can be. On the other hand, the violence he showed in the finals and his attitude at the award ceremony show that he is not always very stable mentally. What if the villains kidnapped him because they had an eye on that? Kidnapping him with deceitful words and dyeing him with the path of evil? What evidence do you have for saying that he has a future? The man continued to make an attempt to make the heroes look bad. I know it's his job, but he's being so aggressive, says Hero Vlad King. Meanwhile, the Class 1A rescue team was ready to save Bakugo from the LOV, with the team consisting of Deku, Todoroki, Momo, Kirishima, and Ida. Alright, everyone grab on. Izuku told his classmates as they all did what he said. They vanished and arrived at a bar. What the Deku? What the hell are you doing here? Bakugo yelled. Kaken, it seems you already broke out of the villain's grasp. Deku says, glad his friend is alright. Oh great, now these trashes are here too. Shigaraki says angrily, but ready to fight. Until a knock turned everyone's attention. Hello, this is Pizza La, Camino store, said a voice behind the store. There was silence for a few seconds before All Might came crashing in. Smash! All Might yelled. Kirojiri Gate. Shigaraki yelled at the purple-flamed Nomo. But before they could do anything, they were restrained by branches as more heroes came into rescue, with Kalmi Woods using his quirk, with Grand Toro arriving to kick Dabi in the face. Young Midoriya, Ida, Yaoyorozu, and Kirishima, I don't know why you are here, but it's fine now. Young Bakugo, All Might told the students. I wasn't scared, not even close, damn it. Bakugo stutters. I'm sorry, All Might, I just wanted to help my best friend. I felt I let down. Izuku apologies. Don't worry, young Midoriya, All Might says. But suddenly portals start appearing with Nomas coming out of them as all the pro heroes fought them and were mostly easily beaten. Suddenly Izuku started sweating and shaking. Midoriya, what's wrong? Ida asked his friend. That key signature, it's enormous, it's like All Might's, but way stronger. Izuku shacked in fear. Bigger than All Might's? Ida responded in fear as well. The man levitated on top, and the dust parted to reveal the great evil known as All for One. Tamura finally started thinking and making decisions for himself. I wish you wouldn't have gotten in his way, All For One said. The group stood all in fear, too shocked to even move, and hallucinated their own deaths. I can sense you children, you can't hide, All For One said, which instantly scarred the whole group. Izuku needed to act now, and he couldn't afford to let any of his friends die. Oh, that's a KIO, KNX20. Izuku yelled, and charged at All For One. No, young Midoriya, don't do it. All Might yelled. KA. Me. HA. Me. HAA. Izuku yelled, firing all he had at All For One. Izuku flew down to the ground exhausted, but it revealed that All For One tanked it. What the? That's not possible. Izuku stuttered. I will be honest with you, child, if it wasn't for these new powers I gained from you, I would have been injured a lot. All For One slowly walked up to Izuku. Me? Izuku questioned, shocked. After your little performance at USJ and the sports festival, I knew your power would be able to completely get rid of all of my quirks, so I began researching and found the great inventions made by the genius Dr. Gero over 100 years ago, and how he gathered data from his enemies to create the perfect being, so I let my scientists create a similar robotic fly, which would gather data from not only you, but from everyone, which gave me all of your abilities, and where you got them from, All For One narrated. Now to avoid you from taking them, All For One said sinisterly. He teleported in front of Izuku instantly, with Izuku not even able to comprehend his speed. Goodbye, hero, were the last words AFO said to Izuku before punching a hole through his chest. Time stopped as All For One seemingly killed Izuku. DKU. Bakugo cried out, seeing the motionless body of his childhood friend. While Bakugo would never admit it, he had grown fond of his classmates over these months, and was finally able to be friends with Izuku again, becoming good training partners. Midoriya. Everyone else shouted emotionally. No, you're going to pay for that, All For One. All Might charged at All For One, who was able to top All Might in his tracks with his hands before punching All Might right into the face, sending him into rubble. All Might got out of the rubble and sees All For One right in front of him, and sends a death beam at All Might, who barely dodges and responses with his own punch, which All For One uses his portals to grab Gran Toro and forces him to take the attack. I'm so sorry. All Might apologies to his mentor. The rescue team used this opportunity to go up to Izuku and see if there is any chance of him being alive. Midoriya, you can't die on us. Ida cries over the body of Izuku. Izuku's eyes open to say one thing. The bag, I need the bean, Izuku said very weakly before coughing up. The bag. Momo saw the bag on Izuku's waist and opened it to see a bunch of green beans and feeding it to Izuku. After slowly eating the bean, Izuku's eyes fully opened and jumped up. Thanks for the sensu, Yaoyorozu. Izuku thanks his friend. I need to find Kaken so we can perform fusion again, as that's the only way we can realistically beat All For One, Izuku explains to the team before teleporting to Bakugo. Deku, you're alive? Bakugo stuttered, seeing his childhood best friend alive. I used a sensu. Anyway, we need to fuse into Dekshin again, Kaken, Izuku explains to Bakugo. Fusing again? No way. Bakugo yells back. Katsuki, put aside your superiority complex for 1 second. If we don't fuse, All Might is gonna die, your family is gonna die, and if we don't do this, we are gonna die. Now let's save the world. Deku lets out his frustration, which shocked Bakugo that Deku could be so full of anger. Fine, but this is the last time, Bakugo said as they stood in position to perform the dance. Meanwhile, All For One was easily beating All Might until suddenly a bright light appeared and changed AFO's attention. Oh, it's good to be back in action, Dekshin said to himself. So you must be the fusion of the blonde and green brats. At least you might give me a warm-up to test me to show the whole world a taste of my full pow. Before AFO could finish his sentence, he was punched right in the face by Dekshin. You talk too much, old man, and that's why I'm going to finish this quickly, Dekshin joked before being fully serious. Dekshin started yelling as red electrify came off them and started yelled Kaioken. Dekshin yelled as the red aura surrounded him and his muscles became bigger. Don't get so overconfident, young child. AFO yelled, also charging up his aura. The two looked at each other waiting for the first one to strike, but thanks to the Bakugo's side of Dekshan's impatience finally yielded, and he attacked All For One, who was able to dodge out the way of Dekshan's punch and responded with a punch of his own, uppercutting the fusion, which sent Dekshan upwards, but recovered shouting KO in X10. Dekshan yelled, flying at All For One and propelling himself down with his explosions and punching. All For One, who was barely able to guard himself by holding his arms up. It's a shame I never got that Kaioken technique, but I need any multiplying technique to live you children. All for One told the fusion, who was too blinded with wanting to beat All for One to notice him speaking. The fight became so fast-paced that no one present was able to keep up with them and only saw the aftermath of where they were. It's time I put you in a home. All for One, a funeral home. Dection created a yellow ball of energy in his hands. Explosive Kamehameha. Dection yells, but before he could fire it, they defused. What the? Izuku and Katsuki said in unison before All for One slapped them, both sending them into craters. God damn it, why did the fusion run out? Deku wondered slowly, getting out of the rubble. Didn't you hear what I said, child? I have all of your techniques from Yardrat, including Spirit Fission, All for One said. If that won't work, then what do we do? Izuku was thinking of ways to beat All for One, and one idea came to mind. Izuku ripped off his armor, now only having his white shirt on, and lifted his hands into the air and collected the Earth's energy, but it wasn't enough. King Kai, can you tell everyone to give me their energy? Izuku asked. All right, people of Earth, can you hear me? All Might and others are fighting a great villain who has the power to destroy the very Earth. Please raise your hands and give them your energy. King Kai said to the inhabitants of Earth. Go on, Midoriya, I'm not using any of my energy anyway. Kirishima said, raising his hands into the air alongside the rest of the rescue team, where hundreds of little blue ball of energy were also present. Everyone from Class 1A to the civilians of the entire Earth gave their energy for the greater good. Meanwhile, on an island with a house on it, an old lady sat lifting her sunglasses off her face. Grandma, what was that voice? Said a young boy with spiky hair and red bandana. It's all right, lift your hands into the air, said the grandma, remembering when her own grandfather did the same thing. While Izuku was charging the spirit bomb, All Might was trying his hardest to stall All for One. Just a little longer, Izuku said impatiently. All for One knocked All Might into some rubble and slowly approached him. Look at you, All Might, you're our barley, even able to remain in your buff form, aren't you? Even the teenagers put up a better fight than you did. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, All for One said, charging a death beam located directly onto All Might's head. Hey, All for One, said Izuku up in the air with a fully charged spirit bomb. What the? All for One was shocked at the power of the spirit bomb. This is the combined power of Earth, All for One. Hiya, Izuku then threw the spirit bomb with all his might. No, this can't be happening. All for One said as the spirit bomb collided with him, who was able to hold onto the ball of energy. God damn it, even with all this energy, he is still holding his own. Kaioken. Izuku powered up to push it against All for One, but it still wasn't enough. This is bad. Even with all the power of the spirit bomb and the Kaioken, Izuku is still unable to beat All for One. Momo said with sweat dripping down her face. No simple child will never beat me. I have lived for hundreds of years. All for One finally gained the advantage against Izuku, pushing the spirit bomb right back at him. No. This can't be the end, this can't be Izuku yelled, trying with all his heart to push the spirit bomb back at him, but it overpowered him completely, engulfing him whole. DKU. Bakugo yelled. Midoriya Ida fell to his knees at the loss of his best friend while Momo cried. Todoroki and Kirishima gritted their teeth in anger, nothing more but to revenge their friend. Ha, what do I keep telling you all? I'm the most powerful being in the universe, and there is nothing that can stop me. All for One boasts and laughs maniacally. That was until a large rumbling suddenly starts shaking all across Japan, no, all across the world, as reports of shaking appear from the United States, Brazil, South Africa, Germany, and all across the world felt it. What is happening? Said a confused All for One. Suddenly, a blue beam of light appeared, revealing itself as the source of the shaking, and out of the blue beam appeared Izuku in a tattered white shirt with a hole in it, surrounded in a blue aura with his eyes silver and hair standing up. Izuku looked behind him to see All for One. The true fight begins. What is this mysterious power? Will it be enough for beat All for One? Find out next time on Deku, Hero of Yardrat. Izuku's silver eyes starred right at All for One, who was stunned at the heat Izuku was emitting. Those eyes. They look like... All for One remembered those eyes all too well, remembering another man with those same eyes and aura. Flashback 100 years ago. You use your powers for your own selfish needs and murder thousands of countless people for nothing? A spiky-haired man shouted at a beaten-up young All For One. No, I will not be defeated that easily. All For One tried to punch the man, but he simply tanked it, and the man's pure power made punching him break his hand. All For One shouted in pain, falling to his knees as he looked up at the disappointed man and stared deeply into his silver eyes. That was one of the few times All For One felt genuine fear. Present. No, this will not end like it did before, All For One yelled, before firing a bunch of ki blast at Izuku, who effortlessly dodged the blast while slowly approaching All For One. Stay back. All For One tries to let out an energy blast, but Izuku blitzes him and holds onto the villain's arm tightly. You won't harm anyone no more, Izuku said, emotionless. All For One tries to sweep Izuku off his feet, but Izuku dodges and kicks All For One right in his face, breaking his mask to reveal his lack of face. Izuku, still in air, punches the air with his fist, sending a strong wind at All For One, which sent the villain crashing through rubble. All For One emerged on his knees, looking down at his hand. No, this can't be my limit. I won't be beaten too, a 15-year-old boy. All For One looked at his hand before charging his purple aura. All For One instant transmissions behind Izuku, but without looking, Izuku puts his hand behind his back to catch the punch. You already have, Izuku said sinisterly. Izuku then threw All For One into the ground repetitively before throwing him into the air and charging a blue ki blast at him, creating a large explosion in the sky. From the blast came a beaten-up, steaming, and barely alive All For One, while Izuku looked down at him. Why isn't Midoriya finishing off All For One? He clearly has the power to easily wipe him out. Kirishima asked. Deku isn't planning on going straight for the kill. He is toying with him, slowly bringing him to death every single time he goes on the offense. Bakugo stays in astonishment, even scared of Izuku himself. Hey, it looks like I really am beaten, All For One says with a smirk, which surprises Izuku, as All For One has a sudden tonal change. But if I am dying, I am taking the eighth wielder with me. All For One then quickly turns towards All Might's direction, sending a large energy wave at him, annihilating All Might completely. All Might is dead. There was nothing but shock for the heroes as the number one hero died in front of them. He finally won for all, is dead alongside that smiling idiot. Now come on, child, arrest me, ha 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 ha. All For One laughs manically. Izuku grits his teeth at the loss of his childhood hero, wanting nothing more than pain and suffering for All For One. No, he wanted him dead. You bastard. Izuku finally craved to his emotions by punching All For One right in the face, and then throwing him so high that he goes into the Earth's atmosphere, and Izuku teleports above him to knock him straight down to Earth. But he didn't stop there, as Izuku teleported back to the ground to deliver a mighty kick so hard that it broke All For One's spine. But Izuku wasn't done, not by a long shot, as he went and purposely broke All For One's bones, finger by finger, just to make his existence a living hell. Izuku had enough of playing around with him and created a ki sword. This is for All Might. Izuku yelled, but the blade didn't hit All For One as Bakugo, Momo, Todoroki, Ida, and Kirishima managed to stop the ki sword, which shocked Izuku either through their combined force or Izuku's instincts purposely suppressing himself in order to not harm his friends, but either way the blade was stopped. Please get out the way. Izuku shouted at his friends, but they refused. Midoriya, All Might wouldn't want this. You've already crippled All For One enough. He is no longer a threat, and who knows what dark path you would go down if you did finish him, Momo explains to Izuku, who deeply thinks about his actions before he turns off the ki sword and collapses unconscious after the form had strained him so much, but he was catched by Bakugo, who was still astonished by that power. When Izuku woke up, he was at the hospital being greeted by Kirishima, Momo, Uraraka, Bakugo, Ida, Todoroki, and his own mother, Inko Midoriya. Izuku sweaty. I thought you were dead, Inko cried and hugged her son, and Uraraka couldn't help but cry as well. It's all right, Mom, I'm fine, but All Might, I let him die, Izuku said sadly. It wasn't your fault, Izuku. It's like you were a zombie in that glowy state of yours. You must have had no control of it. Kirishima tries to reassure his friend. No, I was fully aware of everything in that battle. The spirit bomb must have triggered that transformation, and I was mad not finishing the fight when I could have, Izuku said in anger. Actually, is it all right if I budge in? King Kai said, which shocked everyone. What the dash? A speaking voice. Show yourself, intruder. were the many things the group said to the voice in their heads. Yeah, I should probably introduce myself. My name is King Kai, I am the god of North Galaxy, and train Midoriya the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb King Kai states, which shocks the group even more when they are speaking to literal god. Wait, teached meaning you gave him your quirk? Momo questioned King Kai. Guys, don't freak out about this or tell anyone, but I'm quirkless, and all this power came from me training on an alien planet known as Yardrat, where I learned about a power source named Ki, which allowed me to create things like energy beams. I know this might sound crazy, but you trust me. Izuku tries to explain it to his friends. They all look silent for a second before saying, from all the crazy things you have done, it's hard not to believe what you are saying, Kirishima says. While thanks guys, Izuku says happily that his friends believed him. So what do you have to say, King Kai? Izuku asked. There are powerful wishing orbs on your planet known as the Dragon Balls, which can grant any wish within the wish-granting dragon. Shinron's power, King Kai explains to the group. What are these wish-granting orbs? How will our heroes find them? Can they really revive All Might? So how we find this Dragon Ball exactly? Izuku asked King Kai and his friends. Maybe we can ask Hatsum about it. She is the expert in engineering stuff, Bakugo adds. Great. Maybe we can ask her to make a radar to the Dragon Ball, or something. Izuku responds happily. Midoriya, Bakugo, and Uraraka go to see Mei the next day. Hey Blonde, you ready to be my guinea pig for my babies again? Mei said while weirdly hugging Bakugo. Get off me. Bakugo yells with a slight blush on his face while Izuku and Uraraka stared weirdly at the two. Are they a thing? Uraraka thought, and Izuku just smiled. Kaken has been training a lot in the gravity chamber, even more than me, so when he felt like he reached his limit with the gravity, he went to Mei for upgrades and new ways of training, which Mei was delighted to see, spending a lot of time together. Izuku whispered to Uraraka. Anyway, we need your help with something, Izuku explains. Oh, you want better training equipment? Gravity room modifiers? Mei asked with excitement. While not exactly, we need you to create a radar for some orange orbs called the Dragon Balls. They emit a faint electromagnetic pulse. So would it be alright if you could help us with that? Izuku asked nicely. I will do it, but I need one thing, Mei asked sinisterly. I want Blondie to be my test subject for my babies for a full month free. Mei points at the angry blonde. Deal. Izuku immediately says, what did you say, you stupid dolt? I didn't agree to anything. You. Me. Outside. Now. Bakugo says angrily. The two then charged out of the building to spar in a wasteland. Uraraka sighs at the two. Alright, it looks like I'm going to get to work on it. Mei said enthusiastically. Meanwhile, back to Midoriya and Bakugo, they are fighting in a wasteland as they battle, standing on top of a large rock, fighting for the advantage as they are engaged in a grip. Come on, Deku, show me your Ultra Instinct form. Bakugo yelled. I can't do it. Izuku replied. What? Bakugo replied in shock. I guess I was pushed to the edge against all for one, and did it accidentally, Izuku explains. Oh, then I will attain an even greater power. Bakugo says smugly. Hold on, Kaken. Izuku tried to calm Bakugo down. Shut up. You are the last person I will ever let surpass me. Bakugo said angrily as he kicked Midoriya into some rocks, but Midoriya recovers safely. Kaken, we can get even stronger. Izuku says with smile going into his fighting pose. Of course. We have no limits to our power. Bakugo strikes his battle pose as well with a smile on his face too. The two then charge at each other. Some time passed while Mei was working on a dragon radar. Shota Aizawa had come to his students' parents' home to discuss about their kids still attending UA High, with all of them being convinced to keep their kids in UA except for Inko Midoriya, who was cautious after seeing her son nearly die twice. But after some convincing from Izuku and Aizawa, she accepted letting her son still attend UA and also let him be in the new UA dorm system alongside his other classmates. The day the class come to the dorms, they are met by Aizawa. Yo, Midoriya. Denki said alongside his other classmates, started crowding Midoriya about him beating All for One and being stronger than even All Might was. Stop crowding Midoriya. Anyway, we are here to introduce you to our new dorm system where you would be for the rest of your UA days. Aizawa begins the tour of the dorms, showing where everything is. It even had its own gravity room for students to train in. After they all get settled into their dorms, the girls decide to throw a contest for the best room. They invade Izuku's room to find a giant poster of All Might by his bedroom. Izuku's clothes and training gear, with one of them being a blue training shirt with a weird black symbol on it. Oh, what brand is this? Mina picks up Izuku's shirt, and she immediately falls to the floor. Midoriya, what is this, Mina? Says weakly, barely able to pick the shirt up. Oh, that is just one of my shirts I use for training. It weighs over 500 pounds. Izuku picks up the shirt easily. 500 pounds. Everyone screams in shock of what Izuku must be lifting every day. They move on to Fumicage's room, which is dark and gloomy as expected. Yuga's room is a complete contrast to Fumicage's room. None of the girls want to into Manita's room for very reasonable reasons. Tinya and Mashareo's rooms are very bland and simple. Fast forwarding to the end of the Room King contest with Rikito winning due to his amazing cakes everyone tasted. The former 1A rescue team members alongside Uraraka meet with Tsu afterwards, where Tsu admits she was disappointed in them for going to save Bakugo despite her pleading not to, which lead to her breaking down emotionally. Tsu, I'm sorry for everything. I lead the charge in that stupid rescue mission where I awakened that power to defeat All for One, but I got bitter and wanted to torture him, which lead to All Might's death. I'm sorry, Izuku said emotionally to Tsu, and they all embraced in a big group hug, promising to not be reckless like last time, which nearly cost the life of Midoriya twice. Afterwards, Midoriya and Bakugo return to Mei and gets handed the dragon radar. I will do this, Kaken. This isn't your fault to redeem, Izuku says to Bakugo before flying off. The radar started beeping, revealing the Dragon Ball near him, which appears to be on some island with a house on it. Why would a house be as far back as here? When he lands down, he knocks on the door, and it opened to reveal an old lady with sunglasses. Well, hello there, young man. What brings you this far? Says the old lady. Well, I'm wondering if you have a thing called the Dragon Ball, Izuku asked, trying not to sound crazy. Oh, I do have a ball I found near my island a long time ago. The old lady then goes into her house to show an orange ball with 4 stars. Izuku's radar beeps incredibly hard. Yes, that must be it. Izuku exclaims, looking very eager to get the ball, and the old lady notices this and grins. I will give this to you if you win this fight, the old lady says confidently before yelling Goku. The old lady yelled inside her house, and Izuku heard footsteps quickly running down the stairs, revealing a small boy with spiky hair and a red bandana. What's up, Grandma? Who is this guy? The young boy asked. This boy wants this special ball I found, and I challenge you to fight him. If you win, I keep the ball, and if he wins, he gets the ball, the grandma says. Wow, a fight. Come on, give me your best shot. The kid went outside into his fighting position. Izuku didn't want to fight, but if he had to, he would hold back. Goku charged at Izuku, who was able to dodge all of Goku's attack. Izuku then dives down out of Goku's attack and swipes him off his feet, but Goku, while mid-fall, throws a ki blast which shocks Izuku enough for him to get hit. It seems like he isn't the only one who knows about ki. Come on, fight me for real. Goku Jr. charged at Izuku, was able to catch his punch and then flick him in the face, which sends Goku Jr. into the ocean. Oh no, I must have not held back enough. Izuku panicked he might have injured a child. But suddenly the small island began shaking, which shocked Izuku, but the grandma smirked, knowing what is going to happen next. A blinding golden aura splits the sea as Goku Jr. comes out of the sea with golden hair and green eyes. Alright, you're pretty strong, but this ends now. Goku charges at Izuku, who struggles to dodge Goku till he gets punched in the face, which sends Izuku far into the sky, and he stops in the middle of the air. This kid is insane. He suddenly turns into this weird golden form, and he is able to completely keep up with me. If he was at the USJ or sports festival, he would have mopped the floor. The Nomu and everyone at the sports festival, Izuku thought before smirking. Not bad at all. Suddenly Izuku's aura turned red, but I'd like to see you take on Kaioken. Izuku screams, which shocks Goku Jr. as Izuku charged at him, kicking him into the air before flying up and knocking Jr. down to the ground. Izuku's aura disappears. You done? Izuku asked. Nope. Still got one more thing to use. Goku Jr. said as he began charging his attack. Came the attack name shocked Izuku, but kept his composure, also charging his own Kamehameha. Ka. Me. Ha. Me. Ha. The two yell out their attack, and when they clash, they are almost equal, with Izuku with the edge. Kaioken times 4. Izuku yells, fully overpowering Goku Jr., but before the blast could hurt him, Izuku teleported in to save him, which Goku Jr. drops to base form, weakened from using so much ki, and Izuku smiled at him, enjoying the fight he had. You two did well out there now, and since you lost Goku, we have to give this young man his award, the grandma says giving Izuku the Dragon Ball. Wow, thanks, this means a lot. Izuku thanks the old lady and flies away. That kid reminds me a lot of my grandpa. And so do you, the old lady says. Really, Grandma Pan? Goku Jr. says excitedly. Yep, in fact, you have the same hair as him. Pan chuckles as she pats her great-great-grandson on the head. With the Dragon Ball found and received, will Izuku be able to get his wish from the wish-granting dragon, or is it even a dragon at all? Find out next time on Deku, Hero of Yardrat. Izuku placed the Dragon Ball on the ground and says, Almighty Dragon, come forth and grant my wish. Izuku says to the ball. Izuku was expecting the dragon to come out, but it didn't work. Shinron, am I doing this wrong? Izuku struggled to understand what he was supposed to do. Come on, Shinron, please. I need to fix my stupid mistakes I messed up on. Izuku started breaking down, thinking of all the people he let down. All Might is dead because of him. I should have known this was some stupid myth. Izuku threw the ball away. Izuku was about to leave until a voice called out to him. You have to collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you dummy. I'm surprised Pan didn't tell you that. Izuku looked up at the mysterious man talking while holding the 4-star Dragon Ball. Hi. Son Goku the Scion said, greeting the teen. Izuku looked in awe. Wait, he looked exactly like a grown-up version of the kid from the beach, except with a bright blue GI and dark blue bottoms, also having a red pole on his back and a monkey tail. You are getting strong, Midoriya. I saw your fight with All for One and achieving Ultra Instinct. Wow, I wish I was that talented at that age, Goku tells Izuku. Yes, but I got cocky and let my favorite hero die because of it. Izuku replies. That's a part of becoming a better fighter. Nobody is born perfect, Midoriya. A true martial artist keeps on improving not just in technique and power, but as a person, and this is just the start of your journey, Midoriya. I promise that Goku teached Izuku, placing a shoulder and smiles, thinking of when he was Izuku's age fighting King Piccolo and growing stronger. Thank you, I just wish that All Might could be back right now like nothing ever happened, Izuku wished. Well, as you wish, just don't tell Din about this. Goku snaps his fingers and it made a bright light. Wait, what did you do? Izuku asked. I brought All Might back to life, Goku says like it was nothing. Wait, you're the wish-granting dragon? Izuku says, shocked. Well, yes, but technically no. Around 100 years ago, I was offered by Shinron to go and train with him and become one with him, and I accepted, Goku explains. Wow, thank you so much, Goku. Izuku thanks the Dragon God before Goku started becoming transparent. They'll be watching your process, Midoriya, and I promise the future is going to be great. And also keep an eye on Goku Jr., he has a lot of potential. Goku cheered on before vanishing. All Might woke up like death was a dream in the same place, with everyone shocked at the sight of the former #1 hero being alive, which everyone was overjoyed over, especially Class 1A in the Hyde Alliance dorms celebrating after watching the TV in the main lobby together. Bakugo stands behind a wall listening to the TV while smirking, knowing who was behind All Might somehow coming back to life under mysterious ways, and then sees Izuku walk in and gave Izuku the thumbs up. Come on, Deku, everyone's been missing you all day, Bakugo says. The two then walk and greet all of their friends in the lobby. Sometime later, All Might would retire from hero work, with most people coming to the conclusion that he was retiring due to his age, but All Might was hiding an injury for the past 5 years, which weakened him over time, and secretly has a successor to his power. One for all, passing it on to a blonde third-year student in UA before even Class 1A, where even in UA, and his name is Mirio Togata, also known by his hero name Lemillion. He has made great progress in making one for all his own quirk, becoming the most powerful student in the 3rd year by far. The future is bright for Hero Society, with new powerful heroes like Deku, Bakugo, and Lemillion coming onto the scene, but with powerful heroes also come powerful villains. So, this was the end of part 2 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.